Stick with us for our special continuing coverage of this morning. We have local 10 Syra Anwar. She is live outside of Stoneman Douglas High School. She's in Parkland with the mother of Scott Beagle, one of those victims from last year. Syra.
That's right. So today we are focused on commemorating those 17 beautiful lives lost 1 year ago today. One of those, Scott Beagle, a teacher here at MSD, died while he was saving his students. I'm here with his mother, Linda Beagle Schulman. Linda, tell me what this morning has been like for you so far.
This morning has been like reliving standing here on February 15th last year, walking up the path with all of the tents and all of the media, driving down the road towards Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, which I did a year ago, when my throat closed and we had to go over to the command center. Coming down that road still closes my throat no matter when I'm here. But the difference today, a year later, is that we have really made a difference. I feel like those of us, Stand with Parkland, as well as myself in New York, have really made a difference. We've taken the tragedy that will always be our tragedy forever, and we're going to make sure the best we can that safety comes out of it.
Well, I just want to also say thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. Seeing these students out here, seeing this memorial garden and these songs being dedicated to, you know, the families and these victims and yourself and your family, how does that make you feel?
It makes me happy to know that this will never, ever be just another shooting, because there's no such thing as just another mass shooting. The legacy of my son and the others will live on forever. The students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas have been wonderful and have really done a great job of healing each other and helping each other, and they've certainly helped me. I can speak for myself. I've been back to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas since, and visiting with the Social Studies Department, visiting with Scott's students, visiting with Scott's cross-country team. It's really like visiting with a piece of Scott. So I have to thank them for as wonderful as they've been to me and for letting me still be part of their family.
You mentioned, a piece of Scott. We were chatting earlier. You've got your Scott blue on. I just coincidentally also have Scott blue on. Tell me about him and how you're remembering him today.
I was asked earlier, and I have to say that I don't know where Scott is right now. I mean, besides inside of me always. But he's got to be looking down saying, I can't believe how many people have reached out, how many people have helped my mom and dad and family, and how many people that I've really touched through life. Scott was really, really very humble. I don't think he really ever knew how many people he really touched, how many lives, how his students loved him, how his cross-country team loved him, and how his wanting to live life to the best of his ability that he was able to share with everyone else. I want him to be proud of me. I want him to be half as proud of me as I am of him. Every day I have really learned something new about my son that I did not know 365 days ago.
Linda, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today.
Thank you.
JC and Eric, I'll send it back to you.
Syra, thank you. And we're going to continue south right now and take you to live pictures from Sky 10. This is at Miami Lakes Middle School. You see the students, the teachers, the staff have walked outside. They're holding banners and signs, and they plan to stand in a peace formation. And this goes perfectly with their theme for today, because they are focusing on kindness and love as the answer.
Standing shoulder to shoulder, remembering today together, healing together. We have local 10's Leanne Morajon. She is there right now. Leanne, we know that they're going to be making a massive peace sign there behind you.
Yeah, they've been getting information for the last few minutes. I'll step out of the way so you can get a better look at the children here. You said it. This is Miami Lakes Middle School, just one of so many schools across Miami-Dade County honoring the victims of the Marjory Stoneman Douglas massacre that happened exactly 1 year ago. This, of course, not only touching the MSD community and schools in Broward County, but really, of course, Miami-Dade County and schools all over Florida and around the country. So no doubt today, many students will be doing things just like this, getting together to show their support and to look to the future and to see, just like this sign shows, it says kindness plus love equals the answer. That's really the focus here. A day of love that's now turned into a day of reflection and honor and respect for the victims. Their opening of this memorial will officially start in about 11 minutes at 10:16 a.m. That'll be followed by a moment of silence at 10:17, marking the exact moment that the tragedy unfolded at MSD. There will then be a tribute, a warrior pledge to peace, a proclamation of Kindness Week. That is the theme of this entire week for Miami Lakes Middle, followed by an ode to kindness, and then things will be wrapping up here at 10:25. So right now, the principal and some of the administrators are sort of giving the ground rules and letting the kids know exactly what's going to be going on for the next few minutes. We are above on Sky 10, so you get a good look at exactly what this formation looks like. It took them several minutes to sort of get in these positions and fill in the gaps so that their peace sign, their intended message, came out as they planned. But you can see right now everyone is set up as they will be. Again, this will start with opening remarks and a moment of silence at 10:17, marking the exact moment that the tragedy unfolded at MSD. For now, we're live in Miami Lakes. Leanne Morejon, Local 10 News.
Leanne, schools all across South Florida and probably all across the country are doing something today together to remember those victims, to honor them in the best way that they can. I wonder what kind of conversations you've heard as you've been there at Miami Lakes Middle from those kids about what today means to them and how they're adapting to 1 year later.
Well, right now they're sort of setting the tone for the day, and the teacher that's speaking with the kids right now is talking about the theme of this week, this Kindness Week, because it's all part of moving forward. They're talking about kindness, about respect for other people, about how it could potentially make somebody's day. And so I really think that the focus now is not only on, of course, remembering and never forgetting what happened, and of course never forgetting the lives of those that were lost, but looking forward, how to improve the situation, how to prevent things like this from happening again, and how small acts of kindness among students just between one and another can make things better. So that seems to be the theme and the focus, and we're going to stay here and monitor this event as this day of remembrance continues right here in Miami Lakes and throughout South Florida.
And Leanne, it's so bittersweet because this is a day of love, Valentine's Day, February 14th, but it's also a day that we will all never forget. So many of us touched by the lives lost and just the massacre, the death and destruction for no reason. So it's kind of come full circle, being that this is Valentine's Day and we're watching these children who have left their classes. They're standing together in that peace sign. We can hear the administrators kind of announcing to them what we're there for. I see the sign right now that says kindness and love, and it is so poignant on today, February 14th, on Valentine's Day. We have really come back from this tragedy, and you can see how our community is coming together. These pictures that we're showing to our viewers right now are just very vivid. They really touch you to see how we're making a comeback a year later.
Yeah, and we know that last year, in the days following the tragedy, we saw so many walkouts where students were, and of course they were sad, but they were very angry because they were upset by the circumstances that led up to that tragedy and wanted to see change. And right now what we're seeing is 1 year later is this sort of proliferation of love, of respect, of honor. How are we going to be the example for others? How are we going to be the change? Not just talking about laws or school safety or gun control. There are many different avenues and many different opinions about the best ways to go forward. But it really all starts with kindness and respecting each other. And I think that that is what's being demonstrated today in these sorts of remembrances that are taking place today. Even March for Our Lives movement, which started after the Parkland massacre, which has been so politically focused and trying to get people to register to vote, they are even taking sort of a 3-day hiatus of their message out of respect for the victims, because the focus really now is on remembrance, kindness, and love, and coming together and really and promoting that culture in hopes that that is one of the things that can help this a tragedy from ever taking place again.
Leanne Modahan live for us outside at Miami Lakes Middle School, where they're doing their part to remember and to come together to honor those victims, those who died 1 year ago. Let's head north, back to Broward County and to Coral Springs.
That's right. We have that Temple of Time that has been built by that world-renowned artist, David Best, sitting right behind Trent Kelly. And Trent, as we look at the people behind you, we know that they're leaving messages and promoting this peace, this healing at this memorial that's been built just for them.
Yeah, guys, this temple right behind me is just so unique, so one of a kind to this community that has just been through so much over the past year. You can see the crowd out here leaving those messages continues to grow by the hour. These are people who have been coming out all morning long. They are looking to reflect, looking to remember those 17 lives that were lost exactly 1 year ago today. Now, this temple is the brainchild of world-renowned artist David Best. He lives in California, but he traveled specifically here to Coral Springs just to work on this project. It took his crew of about 22 people roughly 2 weeks to construct this massive wooden temple from start to finish. This thing soars about 35 feet into the air, and guys, many of the designs that you see in that wood, those designs were carved by lasers. I mean, these designs are so intricate and so detailed. Best says he decided to call this particular project the Temple of Time. That's because of the time that he says it will take this community, of course, to heal after experiencing such a tragic event. Now, the idea here, as you mentioned, JC, is to provide people with a place to channel their emotions and leave behind a message, a tribute, if they'd like. There are little wooden squares that people can actually pick up. They're allowed to write on them and leave them here at the temple. Those messages will remain here for about the next 3 months until May. That's when Best says he will actually burn this temple. He will light it on fire as a sacrifice for what this community has gone through. That fire supposed to symbolize a fresh start, a new beginning, a cleansing of sorts. Now, Best has worked on similar projects all over the world involving these temples which are set on fire, and he says so many people actually come up to him afterwards and they do thank him for the experience, for doing all this work, for providing a release for them, a means by which to release all of these emotions that have just been building inside of them for the past several months. Now, if you are interested in coming out here, again, this is right across from the new Coral Springs City Hall. This is open to the public, so you are welcome to come. That's the latest here in Coral Springs. Back to you guys.
All right, Trent, thank you. Such an impressive structure. We hope so many people go out there and share in this moment. Let's move to Seminole Middle School down in Plantation.
That's where we have Todd Tongan standing by to tell us exactly what they're planning there for today. And Todd, I know that they've been having a challenge for the students to perform 17 acts of kindness as we continue with that theme for today on the anniversary.
Yeah, they did. They giving out cookies in the cafeteria to the kids, highlighters that says you're the highlight of my day. Even the principal, Kathy Marlowe, forgiving some ID badges. They have to buy them if they lose too many of them, and she forgave some of those. But they just unveiled this mural. I want to show this first. It's called the Symphony of Brotherhood, and it was a mural created by artist Aaron Booker. And as you can see, it basically the message is we are stronger together when we come together. And MSD Strong is also right up here at the top of the mural. They unveiled this just a few moments ago, obviously to show that our strength is our diversity, and no matter what color, what race, what ethnicity, what religion you are, we are better together. Kathy Marlowe is with me, the principal. A very important day for you, your staff, and these students.
Absolutely. It's an important day for the district as well. This Symphony of Brotherhood mural really depicts what it is that we as a school and as a community and district and country moving forward. We are stronger and we are much better when we come together as one. I'm very lucky to be the principal here 9 years. I have an amazing faculty and staff and even a more amazing student body.
Well, I know you got emotional when they unveiled the mural, and I know you do have to go because there's going to be a moment of silence and you have to get on the PA to announce that moment of silence, which is just a few minutes away. Some of the students did come out here. They also, many of the staff wearing shirts about commemorating this very sad, tragic day, but remembering the victims of MSD. Back to you guys.
Todd Tongan live in Plantation for us. That Symphony of Brotherhood that is behind you is just beautiful. Right now, we would like to take you back to live pictures where you can see Miami Lakes Middle School. They are surrounding that peace sign as they continue to hold banners that say kindness and love, supporting the theme for this 1-year anniversary of the massacre that took place and killed 17 people 1 year ago today.
That moment of silence is now about 30 seconds away or so. When it happens, we too will pause and take you all around the school halls here in South Florida to together remember those who died. This is very much a part of the healing process. All those all across the state, every single school district, every single school has been invited to share in this moment together.
We've heard from our governor this morning. We've heard from the Broward County School Superintendent about the changes that have been made in security since the incident at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. And we will continue to bring you all those stories right here on Local 10. But right now, let's go silent.
Show you live right now outside Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. You see the Broward Sheriff's cruiser parked right outside. Security is increased there today. That moment of silence taking place all across the state, of course, all originating from what happened here 1 year ago today.
Very emotional. As you look at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, you think about the things that have changed. We're talking about there are 230 schools in Broward County, 270,000 students plus. But just at that school you're looking at, where we lost 17 lives last year, they've added more than 100 security cameras. They have doubled the security staff to the number of 18 changes that are being implemented. And our new governor, Governor Ron DeSantis, is saying he wants more investigations done and more tests to see what we can do to keep our students safer so that they can get an education and not have to worry about the things that we were facing this time last year.
We're showing you what's happening at Miami Lakes Middle School. Not sure if we're able to listen in as Sky 10 hovers overhead, but you can see they're banging that gong. There's a young woman there who is speaking into that speaker. And as she speaks and as those young people hit that gong, a new student steps out raising a yellow flower in the air.
You have to imagine there will be 17 students.
14 years old, sweet as well as caring towards others. Chris Hickson, 49 years old, wrestling coach, along as the role of athletic director, injured after racing to a scene to help children. Luke Hoyer, 15 years old, a freshman who plays basketball and loves NBA. Kara Laran, 14 years old, loves the beach. Joaquin Oliver, 17 years old, played basketball and loved to write poetry. Elena Petty, 14 years old, a vibrant, determined young woman. Meadow Polak, 18 years old, was a senior determined to attend Lynn University. Helena Ramsey, 14 years old, played trombone in the marching band. Alex Charter, 14 years old, was a part of the marching band. Carmen Shentrup, 16 years old, a standout student. She was named the National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. Peter Wang, 15 years old, was preparing to celebrate celebrate Chinese New Year that Thursday. Gina Montalto, 14 years old, a member of the school's marching band Winter Guard. Shots were fired, much was lost, dreams were shattered, but for what cause? In memory of those individuals, live a life of meaning and purpose. Let it start today.
Those students, those young people challenging each other to make today mean something in their lives, to make February 14th as a catalyst for them to make better futures for not only themselves, but for their families, for their loved ones, for all of us here in the South Florida community. We talk about the 17 lives lost, the 14 students, and 3 staff members, but every time you hear those names read one by one, it is so powerful and heartbreaking at the same time.
So emotional. We watched each name be called out and a description of their life be given, and then 17 students holding those flowers to honor them, to remember them. It's hard to even watch and remember that day a year ago.
See these young people talking about other kids not too much older than they were as they prepare here to head from middle school on to high school. Let's move on to high school. Where are we here? This is Hollywood Hills High School. You can see they've just wrapped up their moment of silence. It is one thing that is happening at schools all across the state, and certainly right here in South Florida, these young people coming together to remember.
You see they have a chain that they've made for the symbolism of this day. It's so important that we remember what happened a year ago and make changes so that it never happens again. With the authorities and the leaders, you know, our superintendent, our governor, and our school security, our police, staffing, our deputies, they're making the changes that need to happen physically. But these students are really leading the way in the emotional and mental changes that have to take place. And we're seeing these students become our leaders today.
Well, investing in that struggle to cope, in that pain and that emotion has become a big part of what schools have really tried to do with students all across the state to make sure that they are embracing what they're feeling and sharing what they're feeling in these moments. Here at Hollywood Hills, they've been working on a peace chain. That's where students on that chain are going to write messages highlighting kindness through action. And we have now seen in several different areas, kindness and love have been the mantras for today. Making sure that we approach today in the right way, respecting and honoring those who died, and making sure that kindness and love wins the message moving forward.
And we also hear a lot about that day of service because it's about serving others, not ignoring others, not missing the details, but serving others, being forgiving, being loving, being caring. We want to take you back to Parkland. We have Local 10's Syra Anwar. She is live right outside the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. We just looked at live pictures. We just participated in that moment of silence, which is so poignant and so powerful, being that you are right there where this happened a year ago. Syra.
Side of the building, JC, you could just feel this moment of silence. You could see district board members, staff members who were outside also observing that moment of silence, embracing one another. You can take a look at the building. The Broward Sheriff's deputy vehicle outside, they also observed that moment of silence. There was no traffic going through at that time. Just very somber outside as we take moments to just reflect and remember everything that happened 1 year ago today. And many students now are walking toward that memorial garden that they have here outside of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School to remember their friends and look at pictures and lay flowers down. Some students are walking back from it right now. If we can get a shot of them walking back in their maroon t-shirts. You know, we're seeing a lot of the hashtag MSD strong, a lot of embraces, just a lot of people coming together and saying spread love and spread positivity. And just it is somber, but again, people are being very positive today in their outlook and how they're all coming together to move forward after everything that happened a year ago. That's the latest live from Parkland. I'm Syra Anwar. I'll send it back to you.
You know, Syra, earlier this morning on Local 10 News at 6, you showed us a small stone painted red with words deliberately written. What did those words say, and why were those stones so important to the healing process to this community?
That's right. I'm getting one of those out for you right now. They say, MSD strong, spread love. Let me take one out for you. and they're painted red. These are found all over the MSD campus right now. Spread love is just so important to students right now. I've heard multiple students tell me that this morning. They say it's Valentine's Day. They don't want to be thinking about death. They want to be thinking about embracing each other, supporting each other, and spreading love and spreading this, this hashtag, this message of MSD strong that they've had going strong, since this all happened a year ago. So if you are near Marjorie Stoneman High School today, you will definitely see one of these painted stones around the campus. Just a very powerful symbol of what today is all about.
And I know students were not expected to come to campus today, Syra, and even if they did come, we have an early release that's happening in about an hour and 15 minutes. What is your perception of that being so close to the campus? Did a lot of people show up today, or did a lot of people take the time to just be with their family and loved ones and maybe go participate in these memorials and vigils?
So, right at 7:40, when these students started coming in, there was a steady stream of students, but we heard Robert Runcie talk. He said there was a very low turnout, low attendance today because students did have that option to either stay home or participate in a service activity. But even the students that showed up today, they didn't have regular class time. They were doing service projects. They were feeding first responders, feeding firefighters and law enforcement out here. So this was not a typical school day by any means. And even the students that walked past us this morning, they kind of had these very stoic looks on their faces. And the ones that we spoke to, some of them really broke down in tears. The interview I did earlier, she was, really upset and said it was really hard for her to decide to come to school today. So it's been a difficult day, certainly not a typical day here at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
Okay, Sarah, we're live outside of Stoneman Douglas for us this morning. Thank you. Let's bring you back here to Miami Lakes Middle. That is where we have Leanne Motorhong, where we joined live, Leanne, as they read those names. They sounded that gong and they raised those yellow roses into the air. Wow, what a powerful moment that was.
An extremely poignant moment, particularly being right here. Every time you heard the sound of the gong, it hit you right in the heart. Of course, the names of those victims were all read aloud, all 17, each of them punctuated by that sound. Just a quick look at what's going on here. This memorial just wrapped up. A few folks, some of the students, particularly the ones that took part in the ceremony with the reading of the names, they're taking a picture together. They, of course, have their sign that they had as well. But all the students are now getting ready to go back to their classrooms. They have all allotted or separated out some time to continue to reflect and to talk about it. Some of the teachers have actually assigned certain tasks, and will have a dedicated discussion period in their classrooms so that the kids can continue to talk about their feelings and just reflect on what they've just done and on what happened in general. And so we're so glad that we were able to bring this to you live because, Eric, I think you guys could feel it in the studio too, and I'm sure everyone at home could also feel it right there at 10:17, which is to mark the 17 victims that died in this massacre. Each of those names read aloud. Of course, that was preceded by that moment of silence for the victims. Everyone here very respectful. These children, who of course are always full of energy, bowing their heads. You could see them reflecting. I'm sure some of them maybe had a moment either of prayer or at least of silent reflection to think about what happened, to think about each other and what this means moving forward. And the big thing that they wanted to emphasize as well is that this week, this particular week, this Valentine's Day, February 4th week, is now the first ever Kindness Week here at Miami Lakes Middle School. And so that's something that they're going to continue to commemorate every year, making it a point to be kind to each other, to their classmates, to their teachers, to their family members, talking about how this could really, just one act of kindness, a simple act of kindness can turn around someone's day, and you never know exactly how meaningful that could be to someone who's in pain, who is going through something tough. Just a one simple act of kindness can really turn things around. So again, the kids are starting to go back into their classrooms after just a really moving ceremony here in Miami Lakes Middle. Ceremonies like this going on across the country. Of course, the shooting started in the afternoon at 2:20 p.m., but that 10:17 time seems to coincide with the 17 victims, the 17 victims that were taken far too soon, exactly 1 year ago today, a day of reflection and kindness here across South Florida and right here in Miami Lakes.
Leanne, thank you so much. We'd like to go now to Hollywood Hills High School. That's where we have Local 10's Roy Ramos stationed. And last time we took some live pictures from that location, Roy, we noticed that the students had built a peace chain. And we're hearing about the message that they wrote on that peace chain that really hits home today when we need some peace and we need kindness more than ever.
Yeah, and that peace chain spread across a large group of students that were gathered inside an auditorium just a short time ago for that moment of silence. In that peace chain, we saw several messages of love and hope, and that is the message that they are trying to spread today. This all set up by the Student Government Association, and they have set up several activities. In fact, take a look right here behind me. This is the Just Journal booth where students have the opportunity to sit down, write a poem, express their feelings, and then have the opportunity to read it aloud to the students that pass by. If we go ahead and pan the camera to the right, you can see that students are over there making cookies because obviously this is also Valentine's Day, and again, they do want to spread that message of love. That is how they say they overcome a tragedy like the one that happened at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Over here, they are painting messages that they are handing out to other students that walk by, again, with that same message, love. I read one, I think, that says, life is love, love is life. And if we go back, we can tell you that these activities will continue throughout the day here at Hollywood Hills High School as they remember the lives lost at Marjorie Stoneman 1 year ago.
Roy Ramos live for us at Hollywood Hills High School this morning. As we continue to cover this all throughout the day, we continue to talk about that message of love. Something that's resounding with me this morning, a tweet by one of the fathers. Fred Guttenberg lost his daughter Jamie, and he wonders today, did he say I love you to his daughter when she walked out that door for the final time? A reminder, love each other today. Be with those family members as closely as you can.
Thanks for joining us today and sharing in that moment of silence with us. We're going to send you back now to join Kelly and Ryan. They are already in progress.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Reach out to heaven. You're gonna reach out to you. The door is wide open and the skies, they are blue. Reach out to heaven. It's gonna reach out to you.
Featuring all new designs for 2019, Bassett Modern pairs deep dimensional oak with shimmering metal accents and brings